Hello and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is Peter Bond, and with me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Welcome back, Peter.
Welcome back, Season 7. The Reapers are galing. AJ Fileri, my producer. How are the levels, the bars?
Levels and bars are good. It's hard to remember how to read.
And last but not least, he is a proud owner of a Silchus Ruin body pillow. It's Joshua Dean Baker.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
That's hilarious.
Do you think they make one? Do you think that?
That is.
Thank you, Jeremiah, for that.
Silchus Ruin body. 4 words that have never been typed together.
I do think, though, you could get anyone to make you a body pillow.
Yeah, I think you can
something,
probably get custom body pillow images, right? You have
Yeah,
to.
but it's tough because of
someone would make that for you.
because of the no like official art. Like, how would I know which one to really go with? You know, I'm seeing a lot.
Do you know what? We should message Steve. We should get this going.
If
Yeah,
you had to get one on a body pillow, which one would it be?
he needs to be part of this.
You can choose Silchus Ruin, Anamanda Rake, or what's the third brother's name? He's the sad one. It's eating me alive.
We said Animator Rake.
They meet him on Drift of All.
Amanus.
Amanus.
No.
Yeah.
Is it Amanus?
No, Amanus is Shadowthrone's other name.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's something like that. It's something.
It is something like that.
Yeah.
Anamander.
It's like half of a name. It's half of.
Is it? Fuck, I was going to call him Nimander.
No, Nimander is his son.
Andorist.
Andorist.
Yes.
And a Manduris.
This shitty segment ended by Google, a thing all 4 of us had the ability to use just now.
And you see, I didn't mention that I had read all these books before because I don't want people to get the impression I know anything, you know?
Right.
So this is proof 1. So there's some new music for the show and new season, and we just wanted to have we're going to get to Reaper's Gale, but we wanted to have a quick meta talk about the show for a sec, because there's going to be some big changes for Reaper's Gale this season, changing things up a bit. And 2 big changes primarily. First, we're going to cover this book in 10 episodes. Usually we've been doing 8 episodes per book, which was kind of an arbitrary number we ended up at because we read Gardens of the Moon in 8 sections. But as the books have gotten longer, we just want to have a sustainable pace to cover the show. And we also want to make sure that in each episode, we can devote a good amount of time to each part of the chapters. Sometimes in Bone Hunters, we felt like we were really barely getting to things or rushing through some stuff, and we ended up having some really long recording sessions that I think were tough. So although it'll take us slower to get through each book in totality, I think we all think doing 10 episodes per book is just going to be better for the 4 of us.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Agreed.
me as well.
That's right. We're unanimous about it, I guess. And then the second change will probably come on. You'll be most noticeable next week when one India Jones will be hosting the show. So we're all going to try and take some turns hosting and writing some of the scripts. So I think we're just looking to kind of divvy up some of that responsibility more and see how it goes. I think we're all kind of feeling this out, and, maybe it's a big wash, and Toll the Hounds, it's going to be different. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think we're just trying to create a, sustainable show and have a good time and fucking burn this house down, baby.
Absolutely.
We're trying to keep it fun and flirty for us. We've been doing it for 2 years, it gets kind of stale. So 3 years? How long have we been doing the show?
I don't know.
Feels like forever.
It does. It feels like we've always been doing the show.
Yeah, right. We've never not been doing the show. I do just want to say, I say it at the end of every episode, but I'm going to say it at the beginning of every episode, so you can't avoid it. Very, 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 very big thank you to Amaranthan for writing the music that we use for the show, and also for remixing Refractor, which is the song we use for the intro and outro. Love it. Really, really great.
Fully agree. Show wouldn't be the same without his music, and the new intro rips. So thank you for doing that. Shout out here, Aj.
His stuff is in the show notes. You should listen to it and buy his things on Bandcamp. Thank you.
And now that the business is out of the way, it's been a bit of a break since we've talked. How is everyone doing?
I think I'm getting jiggy with it,
No.
No, it's good.
This was the first week of school, and I've never been more tired in my entire life.
Oh, but
How did it go? Was it good?
Bad. No, bad from start to finish.
You don't like the kids?
No, I like the kids. They're fine. It's all the other things.
Yeah.
Do you have to keep them 3 feet apart at all times?
No.
Also, I don't think 3 is the number, Inge.
3 is the number in schools. Yeah.
It isn't really.
Because, well, PB, the classrooms aren't that big. You can't have that many kids if you're going to keep them 6 feet apart.
Also, and let me tell you
does make sense.
guys, if schools are good at one thing, it's not getting sued. So we have promised to keep kids 3 kids apart when possible.
Yeah,
and
that's
boy
what they
howdy,
say.
Oh, of course.
And boy howdy, there's a lot of times in the day that it ain't possible.
Well, like, especially with, like, group work and stuff, you can't expect kids to sit down separately for 8 hours, especially younger kids. Older kids, it's a little bit easier, but, like, not even.
But still, I don't know.
It's not fair. So I totally get that.
And you have a good break?
It wasn't long enough. However, what I did like was these 3 chapters were not big at all. So it was a really easy read. It was a really interesting, it was a good read, visiting old friends. So I would say I'm doing well. You know, like when you're coming out of a depressed week where you just laid in bed all week and then you finally find energy again and you're like, oh, I have a new lease on life. I'm there. So I'm riding that high right now.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Thanks,
You'd love
guys.
to hear it. Well, listen, that's some great energy.
Pete, how are you?
Yeah, please.
Oh, thank you. I'm doing bad, I would say, but I usually am. I felt like I was doing bad last week, but did some good reading today. Feel optimistic about the new week. Mondays are always a great day for me. So
Mondays are a good day for
Said
you.
no one ever.
What the fuck?
Mondays are literally my favorite day of the week. So
That's nuts.
Mine is Thursday night to be exact.
So let's turn our eyes to the show, because I got to tell you, some of my co-hosts mentioned hotly enjoying these chapters, which I found quite a surprise. So I'm excited to fucking bust into these and get into it. So without further ado, let's crack open the 7th book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, Reaper's Gale. Prologue. The elder god Kilmandros travels through the ruins of Krald Emerlene, and she surveils the chaos and the blood of dragons. After the fall of Silch's ruin, Gothos finds Male and Kilmandros battling Scavendari. Gothos speaks about trapping the land and remarks that Kilmandros' children are losing their way. He says Kilmandros cannot kill Scavendari because of the magic over the land. So Gothos makes a finist. Kilmandros kills Bloodeye, and Gothos takes his soul for his own purposes. Kilmandros travels towards Krald Emerlane, but meets Animander Rake. Here they speak of betrayal and its cost. They agree they want to drive outsiders out of Krald Emerlane and leave an empty throne. They enter the realm together. During the end of King Discanar's reign, the Lothari commander Preda Bivat finds massive war canoes and wonders where and what soldiers disembarked here. Later on, in the Aldan, a red-masked rider finds slaughtered bodies, some wearing uniforms of wolf heads. He wonders who they are, and then interrupted by his taloned companions. All right, anyone wanna jump into this first thing?
I do, and
Right.
it's mostly
Inge.
wait, but when you come to me, I'm coming with questions.
All right, do you want to go to someone else first, or?
Yeah, maybe if you have a question, go to someone and then I will ask all of my questions. I have a couple. Unless you want me to just ask them. I am wearing my glasses, so it's up to you.
That's true. She is.
Yeah, and you're wearing your glasses, you have these questions. Well, what are they? Lay them on us.
Okay, so it's just my glasses. First, is this an elder god? The woman? The girl?
Kilmandros?
I thought it was something with a K.
Kilmandaros.
Yeah.
People are already tweeting.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say something, but I figured I'd just let you roll with it. You even wrote it right in the summary.
How did he say it?
I'm saying it Kilimandros. I think I'm adding an A.
Classic.
You're moving
Classic.
the A from the end to the beginning.
Because it's supposed to be what? Kilmandaros. That's
Kilmandaros instead of Kilimandrus.
I mean, Peter's slipping in some stuff. He wants to kill a Mandros, you know?
Sure.
Who doesn't?
So, Inge, yes, she's an elder god.
Okay, so a giant person that wants Scabandari to be killed. And then what happened was the Jaghut was there with the raced.
The finnest.
Finnest.
The finnest.
And
the finest of finists.
Because if they were to kill Scabandari just all willy-nilly, the soul would just chill out and still just be a strong soul.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And then they did kill Scabandari, but put Scabandari in the finnest, the soul in there.
Yeah.
And then that person took it. And is Scabandari the person that Kettle was talking to, or no?
No, that
was the
was
white-haired person. Silchus Ruin, yes. Okay.
Yeah, and if you recall, Silchus Ruin, in a kind of similar way, was killed and then just was hanging out. You know?
Oh! Okay, yes. In that house.
Yes, well,
mausoleum.
he was like, there was the Azath house part of it, but like
So, okay.
There was many dead things that were just hanging out.
Is this like us like learning that if you don't put something's soul into a little finnest, that it just will chill if it's like powerful? Is this like a thing? Is this a point that I should know?
Huh.
Well, this is related to the spell. Remember, Letharus had this kind of freezing spell cast. Right. So Gothos is the one who was brought in to do this freezing magic.
Is that a Jaghut?
Yes, he's the Jaghut who the chapter's kind of...
Oh, man, I totally forgot about that, man.
You see, and this is why we do this.
Yeah, Josh, you once described it as it kind of Letharus being literally frozen, but it's kind of being more frozen and like.
Well, I said that because Jaghut magic is based on ice, so it's like he froze a passage over between them and Hood's realm.
Wait, so what does frozen mean? Frozen in?
It's like the same reason Shirk Alal didn't die. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
Right.
It's like the dead linger here and things don't move on. You know,
and that's what's frozen
kind of,
here.
Yeah, it's kind of a curse in a way.
It's like the hinges to hell. The hinges on the door are frozen shut. So nobody's going through.
Okay, that's perfect. Also, so sad how this little dragon was just fucking sad. Oh, hated it. Anyway, very sad. And then my next question is, Bug is there, Mal.
Yes.
Yeah, Mal's hanging out.
And Mal wants to take the finnest, and then Gothos is like, no. So do we know where that is now, or no?
Nah, Gothos took it and went off to do his own devices.
Right, like, as payment, I'm going to take this.
Gothos took it?
Yeah.
I think Gothos took it.
I'm 1,000,000% sure Gothos took it.
I am too. Because
I'm like almost positive you're wrong.
Mel stepped forward to the Jaghut holding out a hand. I will take the finnest then. No. Both elders now face Gothos, who smiled once more. Repayment of debt for each of you.
Wow,
I claim the finnest.
Man, I was having such a hard time reading last night, guys. My brain was just not letting in any
AJ, that is what this
so
is
much.
for. This is India's refresh minute, or minutes, where we just kind of, go through and figure the fuck out.
No, I appreciate this. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So who did Scabandari betray?
Scabandari betrayed Silchus Ruin and stabbed him in the back, which is what we see in the prologue of the Midnight Tides.
And so did Scabandari kind of deserve this?
He kind of had it coming, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Scabandari, we have not seen any proof that he is not a shitbird. So Silchus Ruin's cool. Scabandari also is the skull that was caved in. That was like the reason that Fear is now like, my life is a lie.
Right.
See, this is where I get confused. It's like...
he's the one that the Tisti Eater call Father Shadow, I think.
Yeah.
And so, but he's, and they've been like, he's just somewhere, but really he's apparently in a finnest,
Well, and you'll recall, and we'll get to it later, this is the whole point. Fear Sengar in that crew of misfits, his whole thing is like, I'm off to find Scabandari.
Yeah. That's
the true leader of the Eater, who's going to like restore our people from this corrupted.
Fear's an idiot. Who hates Fear?
Oh my God,
I'm done with him already.
All right, great. So I'm glad that
we can't do it now. We're still in the prologue.
Yeah, that's it. Those are my questions. Thank you,
Josh. Let me throw it to you. What did you think of this prologue altogether? I mean, I feel like we're just getting into
the whole thing. I loved it.
Well, do you know what? Let's not get to the present day kind of stuff.
Shit, that's what I was ready to talk about.
I want to hear about this Kilmandros, all this. What was your thought? Is this more of this epic ancient stuff?
I mean, it's great. I still am a little confused sometimes when they talk about like just traveling realms, which I think is Warren's. So that's something that's
Emerlane.
Yeah, that does go over my head sometimes. It's interesting that they're talking about like, hey, how did you guys fuck up so bad that you're destroying the whole Warren? Like, now that we know it can happen, that's really bad for all of the other ones. And the one, I can't remember who says that. And then the person's response is like, eat my shorts. It's whatever. They're very relaxed about the fact that an entire Warren of existence is being destroyed. But yeah, the whole everything in this part I think was very good. I like Gothos a lot. Did anyone else get really upset by Kilmandros's description? It's like real creepy.
Yeah.
It's really creepy, right?
It was really hard to picture.
It was, well, I thought it was a fulcral assail because we know they have multiple bendy limbs. And so I thought it was that, but she's really not.
Big shoulders, bowed legs.
Yeah.
Like really, really tall.
And did they say she walked on all fours? That's what I thought, how I read it. And that really upset me.
Maybe. I think they might have said like unnaturally long arms or something. So I
don't remember. I imagined her with very long, unkempt black hair, a la the girl from The Ring, and then walking on all fours. And it was a very upsetting image in my head.
Yeah, that is an upsetting image.
Really tall lady. Shouldn't tell the internet about it.
Yeah, you're right.
Nice.
All I understood I like skim those kind of descriptions. So I just thought that she was a tall woman, but I guess not. So I'm gonna Google her now.
I think she rules, but I think like that description rules. But
she's just like a weird shaped person.
No, she is just a really
India, watch out on the Google as always.
No, I do Google images.
Oh, okay. My first image is her on all fours. So, oh God, some of these pictures are not good.
I don't see any of her on all fours.
I guess if we're all doing it.
Anyway, my first thoughts, Peter, were I liked it. It's really interesting now because back in the day when we had a prologue, it was something I feel like in the earlier books where we had no idea what the context was. And this one, I feel like, I don't know if you guys agree, maybe I'm like not thinking of all of them, but this one was like the first time that I felt like I knew I could understand, even though I had all my questions, where we were, what time it was, what was happening, why it was happening, what happened before it, what happened after it. It was like, we were just in a moment in time that we understand though, where it fits, kind of. I don't know. So I really, really, really was like, wow, okay. And it was pleasantly surprising to actually know why this happened and what happened after. I mean, obviously there's like the question of like, I guess where is Scabandari and what's going to happen? I guess that makes a point, but it was cool to be in like a situation where you actually kind of have like context of when this is happening and why it's happening and what happened like kind of as a result.
Where the time context isn't just like it's 1166.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like 4 days before Ben shit his pants. Like, okay.
Like random people that you've never heard of, except for obviously this the elder goddess, but everyone else is pretty familiar, and it's nice. I liked it. I was pleasantly surprised, and it was quick.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, it's the beginning of the world. Calor is being approached by Draconis.
Literally. Right. Like, two wolves are being like, and you're like, who the fuck are these wolves? Fenneray? Like, no.
Woof. AJ, what you make of this prologue, and then why don't you? We end up a bit later with the Preda Bivet.
Yeah, Bivat. Yeah,
which is, and then we follow up with her later, but we get the first taste of like, I wonder what these canoes are, and we know.
Yeah.
But it's like
that part's so cool.
Yeah. We also, I thought that stuff was wild. I mean, this is also our first introduction to Aldan, whatever. just some island that is also part of the Letheri territory, I guess. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Have we heard of Aldan before?
The Aldan?
I don't think so.
I don't believe I don't believe it's an island. So
it's not an island. Yeah, I guess I just assumed it was an island because the first thing we see of it is a coast, and I guess my head was like, yeah, only islands have coasts. And I haven't heard of this place before, so it must be in the middle of nowhere.
It is in the middle of nowhere, but it is not an island.
Okay, I guess I could have checked the map. Those are things that are in these books. So we see Preda Bivat. We kind of, I don't know, she sees all these ships, which is neat. But I think that the thing that stood out to me most in this section is this is like the first time we see how, I guess, I don't know if it's really changed, but this is how it is working now between the Letheri and
we're still in the prologue. This is before then.
Yeah,
by like
AJ,
many years. No,
she sees all the canoes and she talks to someone.
Yeah,
no?
But she's not talking to a Tisti Eater. She even explicitly says it looks like the Eater craft, but way, way bigger. But this is also the end of King Discarus's reign, and Discarus is prior to the
Discanar.
King. I think he's prior to the king we saw in Midnight Tides. I'm pretty sure because that was King Esgara. So it had to be. So it had to be before him. So this is like probably 50 years ago.
I think King Discanar is the king in Midnight Tides. Is where you're wrong because his name is fully King Esgara Discanar. So
I didn't know that. Okay, I just knew it was Esgar. All right, so this could be pretty recently.
Yeah. Got it. In my head, I thought this was like right before the Eater actually like sieged Lether.
I mean, it could be, AJ.
That's my understanding of it.
Yeah. I think this is during the war. I didn't realize that either.
But are those the Eater? Like, are those ships
not the Eater craft?
They're
not
right?
the Eater craft. Yeah, because he said they were bigger, and I have thoughts as to who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first thought was like maybe it's the Greyhelms or something.
Exactly.
But I don't
It's exactly what I think it is.
Yeah. I don't know. But there's so many of them.
Yeah, but
which was the thing that threw me off is that there was like, oh yeah, it's probably like 500,000 or half a billion.
Well, the Greyhelms are like the unknownest force known to man.
Right.
I just assumed it was them because in the next little segment they talk about the people with the wolves. That's got to be the Greyhelms, and because there were so many women, which is the whole Greyhelm thing. So I assumed they got some boats and they put everyone on canoes and they canoed to the shore.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Classic.
I don't think it's half a billion.
It's not.
It's half a million. Yeah.
And then we meet the Redmask, and he's got a Redmask.
Redmask is the coolest fucking character ever. I'm fully in already.
Redmask. We'll talk Redmask later. We can't do it now. Yeah. We've already gone long on the prologue. So
Redmask is like chapter 2.
Yeah,
he's at the end of the prologue.
He gets, but I agree with Inge. Chapter 2 is when he has his cool big intro.
Yeah. But
ask me if I was introduced to Redmask in the prologue. Ask me.
India, were you introduced to Red? Okay.
No. I don't even recall reading that name in the prologue.
I don't think his name.
They did not call him Redmask, or I guess we don't know.
They just say he's the man in the scaled red mask. Is how they describe him.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it on. Let's keep it moving. Before we move on, Inge, do you want to thank the lovely people who support us on Patreon?
I would love to. I see someone in here that I really can't wait to thank. Starting with my very first. Thank you so much, everyone. Really excited. Really love ya. Coach Hartman, David, Igneous Bliss, Alvaro, Carter. Leoman did nothing wrong.
Wow.
Deshane, Mr. M, KH, India Jones.
Woo!
GT Quick, Aaron, Carly, Amanda, Spencer, Francesca, Levi, and Dylan.
Amazing.
Wow, Inge, can't believe you got a shout out on the show. That must be exciting for you.
I just want to say, Coach Hartman, if you're listening, I love that you have Decathlon and AP World out on your handle for Patreon. That is incredible.
Just repping what he's teaching. You know, I gotta respect. You gotta respect it.
I love
also, Leoman did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm here for that one, y'all.
Hot take.
Really, really funny.
Very hot. Fiery hot.
Thanks, everybody. It's always fun when we come back to a new season because it's like a whole month of people subscribing to the show. Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
It's a warm feeling in my heart.
And a warm thank you to India Jones.
And a Merry Christmas to you.
A cooked goose.
Happy holidays. It's holidays.
A cooked goose. Chapter 1. Tehol Yathvanar meets with his superior, Karos Invictad, both members of the Patriotists, an organization functioning like the secret police of Lethris. Tehol gives Karos a puzzle, and then they join the Tist Eater agent Brutherin Trana. They inspect various political prisoners of the Patriotists and discuss their crimes. After Brutherin Trana leaves, Karos and Tehol speak. They are worried about the economy, and Karos wants to meet with the leader of the Liberty Consign. Finally, Karos tells Tehol to investigate this Eater watchman. Tehol is hesitant to police the Eater, but Karos says they have the power. Raotis Hivanar leads the Liberty Consign, an association of the richest families in the Empire. Hivanar suspects that somebody is tampering with the economy. However, recent flooding is also of his concern. He sends his assistant to Draenei to learn more about it. Then he plans to meet the Invigilator Karos Invictad. Atra Prede Bivat speaks with the Eater Overseer Brol Hanadar. The two commanders look over a massacred Aldan camp. They speak of the war between their people and who won it. Then they speak more of the All and their war against them. Bivat says that the Eater are losing their indifference to wealth. Silchus Ruin approaches Eater slavers and demands them to free 2 of their captured. They refuse, and Ruin kills them all. He frees Udonis and Kettle. Kettle says she was raped by one of the slavers. Fear and Udonis trade verbal jabs, and Saren wonders about those chasing them. Tehol Yathvanar looms over a woman he has been torturing and abusing. Tehol thinks Karos knows of this. He joins Karos and Hinavard to talk about the economy and the recent string of arrests of academics. Hivanar agrees to investigate the people sabotaging the economy, and Karos says they will back off the academics. After, Karos commands Tehol to free the woman he has been abusing. Tehol plays with a 2-headed insect he's named Diskonar. And he talks with Bug about the economy, their schemes, and plans to make a box. This chapter does a lot of table setting about what's going on in the Lethari Empire since we've last seen them in Midnight Tides, and quite some time has passed. Midnight Tides is, of course, a prequel to some of the earlier books in the series, so not only has that time passed, but it's also the length of the series. You know, there's a substantial time frame, so I feel like this chapter is doing a lot of setting, not only with where those characters are, but also with where society is writ large. And a lot of introductions to new characters. And this starts with the Patriotists and one Tehol Yathvanar. And we see him talking to his superior. We see him doing torture, talking to some people. Josh, you come on in, you crack open this book, and you meet one Tehol Yathvanar. What did you make of this introduction to the Patriotists and this particular piece of shit?
Well, immediately I was like, gotta hate him, and the other one, they're both shitty. Somehow Karos is less shitty because at least he has a moral code, but like Tehol is just the real scum of the earth. So I can't wait for both of them to get their comeuppance, hopefully, but that'll be in like 2.5 books, and it really won't be as good as I want it to be. So can't wait. I didn't expect there to be like a whole secret police thing. Really kind of caught me off guard, but like, sure, I guess Lether's real fucking weird. So whatever. I am not shocked that they've got something crazy like this going on. I do think I really liked how quickly we got a sense of like the relationship of like the Eater to these sorts of institutions where they're taking the approach of like, well, we think it's dumb, but let's check it out for a bit and see if we don't need it, and then we can get rid of the dumb shit, which is I think the right way to do it.
But Josh, it's called the Patriotists, so it's probably
well, they're probably cool. Everyone who's ever called themselves a patriot is exclusively cool and good.
Right.
That is accurate.
Josh, it's called the Patriot Act. It couldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, calling it here, Kairos Invictat is the Tom Brady of this book, and Tanal Yathfanar is his Gronk. So,
honestly, I don't fully track that, but I'll let someone tweet at you for about that. You know,
good. I want them to.
Inch, what's your impression of meeting this these slime balls in this organization? That's right. Usually, I don't give away my impressions, but that's why I don't like these folks.
Yeah, they're slime balls.
When Peter calls someone a folk, you know it's not good.
Yeah, same. I have the same sentiments. Not cool. I don't really have anything else to say. Are we like, are we going to go into like in detail opinions? Because I don't really have much to say beyond. So, at first kind of idea, I'm like, wow, this is really bad. These people are really, really, corrupt, which we knew, but like also more than just corrupt. There's like a sinister evil corruption that only the crippled god could do. I don't know. I don't fucking know. All I know is that they suck. It's not fun. They're just killing everyone. They're just killing people for no reason. It's very, very like typical controlling bad people that like don't want scholars and shit. We get it. Right. We know this. We've seen this.
Right.
Sure.
Plus, really, which I guess is maybe not a plus. It's just not talked about as much. But the awful torture and rape stuff. Mm-hmm. So very sad. Not cool. Don't like it. Don't like them. But it'll make for an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is just that, fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's touch on some of that more specifically at the end of the chapter, I think. But I agree with a lot you said. And we also meet, it would be worthwhile to mention, we meet the head of this Liberty Consign, which are the nobles. And both, they're talking about the flooding, but they're also like, yeah, I think some mystery person's fucking with the economy, And I feel like, us, the reader here, we're sitting like,
Are we laughing because we know that it's Tehol?
Yes. That was my laugh. Yeah.
I wasn't sure because you said there was a time jump, and I was like, if there's a time jump, is he still doing this bullshit? Like, I know that they talk at the end and they said it was a two-headed bug and ha, but then I was like, what? Are they really unsure? But no, they were just doing it sarcastically. So now that I have my glasses on, I realize that and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, to be honest, I wonder, because I know some of the time stuff gets like a little fuzzy,
sure.
So I don't know if there's a hard number for how much time has passed, but
you know what? I'm taking this as a question to ask Steve when we talk to Steve at the end of the book, because I always am like, what do I ask Steve? And this is a question that I'm asking Steve.
Put his feet to the fire, Eng. AJ, you mentioned you wanted to follow up on your thoughts about Atrapreta Bivat and kind of their role with what's going on Drene and around the Aldan.
Yeah, not follow up so much as just say what I was intending to say before. This is like the first, not the first because it happens earlier, but we are seeing how the Lether and Eater, I guess, military complices are merging and what that looks like. So, we know what an Atrapreta is, but now they have Eater overseers just kind of watching everything that they do and reporting back. Okay, I'm going to need clarification on what's happening because the Bivat says that there's an official and an unofficial version of what is happening to the all people, and I just need that clarified for me. Because when I read it, I thought that it was the all people are fighting each other anyway because their lands are like going barren and whatever, and so like they're just like attacking and killing each other, and then the Letheri army is just like coming in afterwards and kind of like cleaning up and taking whatever. But the like an official version is that the all people are like amassing a militia or something, and that the Lethari army is trying to quash it. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. The Lector, the guy that like sort of has control of everything in that city that isn't the Tisti Eater, who we like haven't actually met yet. He just wants all that land. So he's just like when he writes to the Lethar capital, and what he tells the people is that they're bloodthirsty savages, and then he just goes and murders them. And in reality, they're just trying to survive. Like they're not organized. They are not organized. They don't even really fight each other. They just kind of exist in small groups.
A false pretense for a war?
Yeah. Never heard of it.
I just wanted to make sure that I read it right, because like I said, yesterday I was reading this book and it was not getting into my brain. It was just not hitting the brain juice it needed to hit. But good. I'm glad that I got that. Yeah,
I wonder what you guys think about it. I just want to say my only comment about this section is I agree. It's interesting to see how they're two meshing. And I do think it's like peak dumb Empire shit or something. I don't know. It's so funny. I don't know if it's this conversation or the conversation later on, but they're talking about, they're like, well, why are you even doing this? You know, like, why are the Eater still interested in this project? And they're just like, yeah, I don't know. You guys were doing it. It just felt like we should probably keep doing it. You know,
exactly.
Which is like, well, I don't know. Just I'm going to keep doing what you were doing, you know, which is like not a good reason to do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And Steve had said stuff about that when we finished Midnight Tides, I think, just about like the staying power of like civilization or whatever, you know, and like
which
how these systems.
Tehol was even saying that shit back in the fourth book. He was like, or fifth book. He was like real clear, like, yeah, they can beat us, but like they cannot beat the system. Yeah, the system is there always. Yeah, exactly what he was saying back then.
Almost like you would have to address the system itself, you know.
Well, that just takes a lot. That'd be a lot of time, a lot of energy.
Our guy's on the big seat, so we're good.
That's true. We got the big seat on a lot.
He's got the good chair.
All right, let's turn away from that part of the world and turn to a cast of characters we know well. Inge, woo! We tune in with this is our first coming to characters who we've met before, as opposed to this smattering of introductions. We catch up with Silchus Ruin, Fear Sengar, Udanas, Tehol, and that's it, right? Or am I missing one?
Did you say Saren Pedak?
Oh, and Saren Pedak.
Oh my God, how could you miss your favorite Saren?
I like Saren. So we're catching up with these big five. What did you think? What was how'd you feel coming back to them?
So can I just say, as far as a group of misplaced people goes, from the previous books, this one's my favorite, and I'll tell you why. I really like this like banter that's also an argument between Fear and Udanas. Udanas is so sassy, and I love it because Fear's fucking annoying. And then Tehol is great. Tehol says this quote that I thought was hilarious because it's so true. And it was, being alive is hard. I'm always hungry and my feet hurt. And really I've never related to something more. But we find them, and Tehol and Udanas, and I don't know if anybody else was, I didn't pick up on that, have just gotten like caught. But when, I don't know. And for how long, I don't know.
It seems somewhat recent, is my impression.
Yeah, I agree. It seems recent, but also it may have felt like an eternity.
Yeah, for what, her and Udanas. Yeah, I think it was like 2 or 3 days maybe.
Yeah,
something like that.
They said.
Oh, okay. So we find them there, and then what's that person's name that comes and saves them?
Silchus Ruin.
I hate these fucking names, for real. I really do. So Silchus Ruin comes, kills everyone. Well, not really. Some of them run away, and then sadly, Tehol was raped. Very sad. And then Udanas was, I guess, tortured a little bit. Also very sad. Silchus Ruin goes to kill them. We love it. We love to see it. We love people getting their karma, if we believe in karma, if you want to call it that. And then, so I really was happy to see them again. I was really excited to see them again. It's always nice to come back to characters that we know, and that, like, when they went away, I wasn't really sure where we would see them again or how we would see them again. So I do like that they have, like, this journey, and they're kind of all, I guess, well, Fear, I guess, is the only one who's kind of going for something different. I don't really know what he fucking wants, but I like that they're together.
It feels like Fear is there out of, like, they were the only group that was leaving. So he's like, I guess I'm with these people.
Literally. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I do have a question about Wither.
Yeah.
Wither.
Okay.
Is Wither a person or still or still like a spirit thing?
The ghost of Atisti Andy.
So
still.
Is he walking around as a ghost, or is he still like he was in Udanas, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he was with Udanas.
So they just like they're separate entities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they've always been separate. I think just in Midnight Tides, he had kind of like hitched his wagon to Udanas, so he was just like hanging out.
Okay, I see.
I think
that was confusing for me.
Yeah, Withel showing back up kind of threw me off a bit.
But I liked it.
I don't know the exact answer. My understanding is they're still connected to each other because, yeah, that's my understanding. But I could be wrong.
Didn't it say that Withel just like went ahead in the trail or whatever when they were going up the mountain?
Yeah, but I guess in my mind they're still connected, just not like. Yeah, I agree. Like I do think he's outside of Udonis' body, but
right.
Josh, what you think make of this ragtag group of kids?
They remind me a lot of the Scalara crew from the last book in that they are not going to get along all the time. And
who is?
So I don't know if I'm excited for this group. I'm excited to have people I fucking know at all in this book.
Yeah.
That's that's a delight after the rest of, so far of this first chapter. But I don't know. I feel like for me, the fear and Silchus Ruin thing is going to get old really fast. So I hope something.
Old.
It's already old. So I really hope something happens quick so they can just fucking nut up and get along. That'll be great.
I did like the Silchus Ruin line. I don't know if it's in this or in the next chapter when he's like, "What are we in a story or something? Please look at us." You know?
Yeah.
I just got a rag. Like, fucking fear, bro. Fucking, can you fuck off for like 1 minute?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This fucking guy.
Yeah. He's, I can't with him.
It's just like, fuck you, bro. Like, what are you doing?
He's on a real high horse and he has no reason to do so.
Well, it's like, bro, stop taking this out on these people. This is not what you're upset about, bro. Like,
misplaced.
Yep.
Anyway, let's slide on to, there's kind of this dark, it's if it gets darker next chapter. So the Liberty Consign guy comes, they're talking about the arrest of the academics, and then Tehol is instructed to free this woman that Kairos knows. Tehol thinks he doesn't know, and then they come to an agreement to work together in a way.
I gotta tell you, Steve does a really good job of like in one sentence. I felt I fully understood Tehol, whatever his name is. This name's gonna be hard. Tehol Yothanar, and it's in the scene when he walks into the room, and it goes. And he, like, talks about how large Hivanar is. And then he's like, but that's fine. I don't have a reason to be intimidated. I'm not intimidated by that. And I was like, okay, you are. So I figured, okay, well, we made this real clear real quick. Okay, you as a person, got it.
Sure.
Also, I was really annoyed by the word invigilator, and I was like, "Fucking Steve, can't he just?"
I want to talk about this.
Let's talk about fucking invigilator.
I was like, Steve, can you just fucking use a normal word for once? And then I learned it was an actual word. He didn't make the word up, you know.
I've never heard this word, but I absolutely love it because and especially since the people's names are Tehol, Yothanar, and whatever the Karos, Invictad. It's just so Warhammer 40k, and I love every moment of it. Like, everyone in these scenes is Space Marines for me with all these fucking names and words. It's so good.
I'm just saying, invigilator is gross. And if, you said you invigilated something yesterday, I would be like, you are a fucking criminal.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I got the definition. I have it right here. An invigilator is the person in an examination room responsible for conducting a particular examination session in the presence of candidates.
So
it's a proctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What do you mean a proctor? What does
like
that
a
mean?
test proctor.
Oh.
You know?
I hate it.
Which is great because as a public school teacher, I often have to proctor exams, and I will exclusively be walking in rooms now like, I am Mr. Baker, the invigilator. That's the only way I will. Every room I enter.
Everyone take your invigilator ID, so we all.
Josh, I strongly discourage this behavior.
No, I love it.
Out of all these words, like all of these fake ass words, invigilator, the one of the real words in these books, was the one that every single time I read it, I had to read the sentence again because I would like tongue twist my brain, like I couldn't see it and think it.
if I showed a child the word Kachain Shamal and Invigilator, and I was like, which one's real? They'd be like, Kachain Shamal. Invigilator can't be real.
Which one would you rather say?
Kachain Shamal is easier to say too.
It is. I think it's the L and the G. Invigilate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, we can touch more on this in a sec. The last part of the chapter, I gotta say, was a fucking breath of fresh air. The whole book, up until meeting Tehol, it's just like, I feel like for me, it was just such darkness and like everyone having such a bad time.
Yeah.
And then it's just like Tehol is just chilling out, talking to Bug. And I was like, thank fucking Christ for one moment, a bit of sunshine in my life.
Absolutely agree, 100%.
Although they're not in the next chapter, so
they aren't. But this exchange stuck with me so that I thought that they were.
A little goes a long way with them,
A little goes. Well, that's true.
Someone want to read the next chapter summary for me?
I got it. Chapter 2. Saren looks upon mountainous ruins and speaks of ancient cities. They speak of the Kachain Shamal. Saren mocks Silchus Ruin's quest for Skabandare. Udinus finds a tunnel and decides to take it. Tehol and Karos watch prisoners being dragged, and they speak about fanaticism, those who believe and those who ask questions. A new puzzle has arrived for Karos. Tehol goes down to the deepest part of the dungeons, where he has yet to free the scholar Janeth. She taunts him, he hits her, and then leaves. Brol Handar oversees the Eater at the Drene High Market. He thinks about wealth, the letter enet, the factor, and personal riches. The leader of the local patriotists finds him, Orban Truthfinder. Truthfinder tells him about how they have tracked Silchus Ruin, and they start to talk about what to do when they are interrupted. A warrior named Redmask has been watching the garrison. He enters and cuts his way through soldiers throughout the city. He uses ancient and foreign weapons. Atri Preda Bivad arrives, and after listening to a description of the man, she says it must be Redmask. His exile is over. Bivat tells Brol about the warrior. After a bloody incident with the Factor left Redmark's sister and tribe dead, he tried to unite the All against the Letheri, but failed. He was exiled to the land to the east near Kalance. Apparently he has returned with his strange weapons made long ago to battle an unknown enemy. The Atri thinks the Letheri and Eater will need each other if Redmask is able to reunite the All. Redmask returns to the Aldan and thinks on his people. He is followed by his two Kachain Shamal, Sag Chorak and Gunth Mog. Redmask does not know why they follow him, or why they kill Letheri. Saren views Silchus Ruin and thinks on the man, wondering about how he lives. Udanas asks why Rulad hasn't found them yet, and Kettle suspects it's because Rulad wants them to find Blood-Eye. She identifies the crippled god to them, and said the god is keeping them away from the east, where the secrets are. Kettle says the dead told her all of this. Saren asks Silchus Ruin if he knew.
Josh, you mentioned you want to talk about the Kachain Shamal earlier on this mountain scene.
Yeah, I really feel like we're going to get to the point in this series where like they finally come into their own as like a real like actual part of the plot, not just sort of an expository force, you know what I mean? Like we came real close last book when they were fucking about to go in that Kachain Shamal Sky Fortress, and then they were yanked back and we're told like, this is a bad play. And now we've got a couple of them here. And I don't think the ones that are with Redmask are undead and mindless like the ones all the way back in Midnight Tides.
Yeah.
Not Midnight Tides, Memories of Ice. So I imagine these are like the first actual like living, breathing, thinking ones that we're going to see. So I'm excited to see like how they impact the world around them in the story. Should be cool.
Imagine they're just like super passive.
That's the dream.
They love to hacky sack.
And hack and slash.
Well, Josh, I think you bring up a thing. It's an interesting evolution, right? I mean, they start in Memories of Ice, and I feel like in Memories of Ice, they're really just like one different category of enemy that they're defending in the siege.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
Yes.
oh wow, there's these cool things. And now it's like throughout the books, you really like you start to learn a little more, you learn a little more, and now it's like they're slowly coming into light a little more. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, so yeah, they speak a little bit more about it here. Udonis finds a tunnel, and then they kind of go onward. It's nice to be back with Saren, isn't it?
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't know. Saren is like, I love
Saren.
I loved Saren with the people in the last time we saw her, whatever their names were, the Crimson Guard. I liked her with the Crimson Guard, but now she is like really trying her best to hold this group together, but like it's kind of leaving her a little like dispassionate, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't really, I don't know, she's not the same as she was back when she was with the Crimson Guard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to figure she's been traveling with them for a couple of years, question mark?
My gut says months.
That's where it gets confused. It seems like months, but part of me thinks it's years intellectually, you know?
Yeah.
It's really tough. I would love to ask someone who has really sat down and done the fucking math.
Is Kettle alive yet? Fully? Like, will she age, or is she just like eternally an alive child?
I think we'll find out. Well, let's think about this for a second. If in the last, so first off, there's no guarantee that what we are reading right now is happening after what we read in the last book.
That's fair, I
guess. That's how Steve do. We thought book 5 was happening after book 4, and it was actually hella before everything. So
sure.
All we know from the last book, Bone Hunters, is that in that part of the story, the Eater and Letheri have been working together for, my gut says, maybe a year or a little more. But we don't know that that's the same time as this right now.
Yeah, well, I would agree, but Pete did say in the beginning of the episode that or maybe before we started recording, that this is after book 5 and then also after everything we've encountered in the series.
All right, I'm looking it up, and we are of estimations between 3 to 4 years, 2 to 5 years.
Wow.
So pretty wide berths in terms of years.
That's not a lot. That's it feels like so little has been done then, because there's some parts that feels like, I could, like with the Saren stuff, I could totally believe it's taken them like a good 2 years to get to where they are. But like, I feel like if we're like 3 to 4, if we're 5 years in, how the fuck are the Eater like just now having an overseer in Drene and figuring out the Patriot? Man, I don't know. This shit's weird.
They had to rebuild a lot, you would assume. So it might have taken a while for them to get like a lot together. They're still kind of, I feel.
Yeah, and he was only assigned overseer after there was like a rebellion or something, right? So like maybe it's not like a thing that they
thought they didn't need one that far out, maybe.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there's things like where like if it was 3 months, part of me would be like, well, why would there be like the secret police or this full thing now?
Right.
It's like, after
okay.
You know, these
it
things
definitely
crop
seems
up.
like things have been like established.
Right.
Yeah.
More so than them like trying to like put it together. It seems pretty like this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Nilfarog for a little found an old comment by him. But so let's quick dive into some of the darkest stuff in these first few chapters. Tehol speaks with Karos a bit, but then he goes down, is torturing this scholar Jenath. She speaks to him a bit. There's this sexual abuse aspect to it. I wonder what you guys thought of this part of the chapters.
Didn't like reading it, but I made it through.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough, but it's just like we are really just solidifying without a shadow of a doubt that these people really, really fucking suck, especially this dude.
Mm-hmm. Indy, anything to add?
Not really. I feel the same. I don't know. I feel like it's just really just solidifying like this really sucks. These people are really bad. Here's why they're bad. Mm-hmm. They rape people a lot and also other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not a good time for anyone. We really don't like, we know who our enemies are here.
Yeah.
There is no redeeming qualities.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe they'll pull a Karsa. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Remember when Karsa was bad? And now we all just...
Pete's over here like, what do you mean remember? I live it every day.
Peter's like, I hate Karsa. For good reason.
Well, we'll be able to loop around and talk about that plot line later on. I
Can't
think we'll leave
wait.
it there for
Can't
now.
fucking wait.
Oh, yeah.
I do like, sorry, I do just want to say, I really love Janath calling Tenol little man over and over
that's
again.
exactly, he's got little man syndrome. That's like exactly what he has.
Right. Well, and you see it, like she calls him little man. He's like, oh, this is what makes me mad. It's like, okay, well, you fucking idiot. And then she has a what I think is a great quote. The status quo is not sacred, not an altar to paint in rivers of blood, which I think is good. Because fuck the status quo, you know?
No. Stick to things you know.
So we go to the city of Drene, where Brol Hanadar is there, and I gotta say the name Orban Truthfinder absolutely rules. Love Orban Truthfinder. 10 out of 10 name. And this is really where they get to have, Redmask gets to have the proper intro. So, you know, we have the scene first from the city officials, and then they're like, oh no, something's happening. It's like, boom, 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 ba, boom, ba, cha. And then with the, like, Redmask has the cool weapons, and it's like, cha, cha, cha. And like, fucking cool, right? It's like cool stuff. Yeah, Ange?
Just really quick question. Totally agree. Love that. But what is a garrison?
It's just like the soldiers of a place.
Group of soldiers.
So a garrison is people, a group of people, not a location.
It can also be used to refer in like it can be used to refer to like the area in a town where that standing group of guards is like based out of.
Yes, it can also be like a physical place in that way.
And how do you know that? Just based on like this
Context
book?
clues.
World of
Context
Warcraft.
Yeah, it's just a word. A fancy word.
I play a lot of strategy games. Really big into 4X.
Got it.
So, Josh, you mentioned vibing with Redmask earlier. This is our introduction, and I believe it's also later in this chapter when we get to have the full backstory.
Yeah.
You know, they're talking about this mysterious man. What you make of this guy?
This dude rips ass. I love him, and he's my son now. Big fan. Anyone that uses a bladed whip, you're on a great start. B, your other hand has a weapon that I legitimately cannot in my head form a picture of. Steve's description is so good, but it doesn't work in my brain. Like I'm too dumb to really get it. All I know is that it's an axe and that maybe the heads are on opposite sides, but that's how I picture it. He used the word perpendicular in a way that my dumb brain couldn't really comprehend. But I think that's what it meant. I don't know, man. It's really cool sounding. Oh yeah, it's awesome. Cool. And like we get hints that there's some shit in the east, which I was like, I don't know if I have more like new shit in me, Steve.
You know, no, but Saren and them talk about it later about
I know there's secrets in the east, but this was so cool. I love Redmask. I want him to be the best.
Does Redmask have that name because he cuts off faces?
No, it's because he's wearing a red mask.
Is it a face?
No, it sounds like it's dragon skin because there's rumors that he killed a dragon.
So it is a face.
Well, no, it's not the dragon's face. That would be too big for his head. It's probably like a piece of its hide.
Oh, dragons are large.
Dragons are real big. So he's probably just like cut some holes for eyes.
That's
Pete's
horrifying.
over here chanting something.
Gun, back, gun, back, gun, back, gun, back.
They could change your mind.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't read these names while we were reading, but then as I was doing this thing, Sag Churok and Gunth Mac are the greatest names I've ever read in my life.
Wait, what names?
The names of the two Kachin Shema. Yeah.
Oh.
If you went up to someone who didn't speak English and you were like, these are the Kachin Shema, Sag Churok and Gunth Mac, they would never recover.
Josh, I distinctly remember reading one of the chapter summaries in Gardens of the Moon, and I was saying something. I was like, Gomball of the Kron Talon I Mass. And I just said like 6 of these words together, and I was like, this is nothing. Yeah. This is a nothing sentence.
If I said this sentence at work, they would call an ambulance for fear I'm having a stroke.
We are fully gone. AJ, what you make of Redmask in this introduction?
I mean, dope. They said that he was exiled from the tribes, but is now back. So that is
and then we heard about the sister, and then like he's back, and you know.
It was interesting. It's kind of like He's just another one of those mythic characters, I guess, where like they have a story and a myth, surrounding their history. I don't know. I think it's cool that we don't usually get that character as a POV. So seeing the things that Redmask is doing through Redmask's eyes is cool. And I'm looking forward to that farther into the book.
Yeah. We'll have to follow up on it now, won't we?
Uh-huh.
So Redmask history. Did the Lethery kill his whole tribe? Or is it just like somebody else happened? Like some other group took a sister, and now and then they like kicked him out afterward, and now he's like rogue. Am I understanding that correctly? Who killed? Do we not know? Is it not relevant to his?
I'm pretty sure it was the Lethery.
Okay, I thought so too.
Killed his sister and everything because Brawl, the overseer Brawl, who is Eater, didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right, moving on. Wait. So why is he killing the Eater? Just because they suck?
He's not killing the Eater. He's killing the Lethery.
Yeah.
He's part of the people that. So remember what AJ asked that question earlier about like the unofficial and versus official. So right now the Aldan. It's very similar, it feels like, to kind of like the Wiccan people. There's just like a group of plains people who right now the Lethery are just like one at a time finding their villages, killing them, taking all of their herds and stuff, and then being like, this land is ours. But like their reasoning for it is they've made up this lie that they're all secretly trying to coordinate into this huge army, which just like isn't true. And so he's taking revenge on them because they also killed his sister and tribe. So
the Lethery. But I thought that the Eater now run.
Yes, but so this place is so big that like a lot of the people who were leading under the Lethery are still leading, because it's like, why would if John is running this, podunk part of the Empire and he's done it for 10 years and like people haven't murdered him yet, why would I replace him when I don't know shit about that area yet? But in this case, John is a fucko who just keeps killing people and taking their land. And now there's consequences.
So, okay. So Redmask has no ties to either Eater or Lethery. He has his own tribe group that he's trying to form.
Yes.
So now there's
he is one of the,
and that's the All.
Yes, he's one of the All. Yes, AWL. He's one of them.
Got it.
And the last thing I want to say about Redmask is he does not know why these Kachin Chamal are friends with him.
Right.
Yeah, that was my next question. It even better.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any ideas why they're following him or why they are killing Lethery?
No.
Maybe the mask is actually Kachin Chamal scales. That's all I got. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember from the last book if there was anything, but I don't think there is. There were demons in the last book, but there weren't Kachin Chamal, and they were fighting.
Isn't that the thing Karsa killed? Wasn't that Kachin Chamal?
Karsa killed I forget.
I feel like they must have some shit with the Lethery of their own.
It could.
I don't know.
I mean, we know that there were Kachin Chamal here because that's where Saren and them are.
Yeah, that's what I was
they're in the remnants of something.
Yeah.
And they said they were wiped out by dragons. Oh, shit. And he is wearing a dragon mask. So that could be it. Could be something to do with the mask. I didn't think about that.
Let's Google it.
No.
Do not Google it. And let's move on to the last part of the chapter here. Saren is thinking about Silch's ruin. We check in with all these different characters. And then it ends kind of bigly, and Kettle kind of goes on this huge rant about... She's like, oh yeah, Rulad's being possessed by the crippled god, not possessed, influenced by the crippled god. There's these secrets to the east, and she's saying it like, oh, you guys all know this, and everyone's like, what the fuck is Kettle talking about?
Yeah.
So she's so.
Yeah. What do you think? And what do you think this information? Silchus and all these people seem pretty surprised by it. What do you think this information means for these people?
I think that they likely weren't expecting this to be it's a big deal, but now with the information I think that Kettle is giving, it seems like this is larger than just what I guess they assumed it was. Also, quickly, is there anything did we ever, and this is just a sidebar, Kettle had that thing inside her. Is it still? that spell or whatever, those people did something with her, remember?
Oh, the nameless ones had done something, and there is the spirit of a change them all inside of her, or a spirit of a Forkle Assail inside of her.
Yeah.
It's still there, because, but
Okay.
Silch's Ruin, because Silch's Ruin is like, I want to kill you, but I am going to wait and and just see. Yeah, I forgot she has that in her. Take your time.
It's just like, I just feel like they're like, what the fuck? Like, I just don't feel like they have any idea what's going on now, or as a result of this information. Well, let's just see what, I don't know. No, apparently nobody has any idea. Peter, do you think that there's going to be like some kind of surprise where like Silch's Ruin does have an idea of that, or no?
I think it's remarkable that they've hung out this long. I mean, it's not like they're really bound together by some huge common purpose besides being wanted by the Empire. And it's been 3 years or something, you know?
Yeah, how has she never, that's what gets me with these time jumps, is like, ain't no way we're 3 years in and she's just saying the crippled god exists.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that they don't, is it Saren who has no idea who the crippled god is?
No, none of them do.
None of them do. They're all like...
None of them do.
Yeah.
Crippled god?
I do just want to read the final line of the chapter. After Kettle's talked about the crippled god, Saren says, Silchus, do you have any idea what Kettle is talking about? And he says, no, Acquitter, but I intend to keep listening. So nobody knows what's going on at all. So it's fun times.
Kettle also says, like, the crippled god doesn't want us to go to the east yet.
Right.
He's not ready for war yet.
Right.
So I feel like that also is kind of like, well, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. It just leaves a lot of things open. And if I were them, I would be like, let's just stay west or north, wherever we're going north. But I have a feeling that she's going to start giving out a little more information. I feel like Kettle is going to be our little vehicle with this group, which is exciting. I like that she's like getting like she has like a nice role, and I'm excited to see more like what comes from this and what comes with like from her and how she kind of grows in this story.
In India, I think something you said really, really distinguishes us as two different people, because you said the crippled god's not ready for them to go east, so just keep going west and never go east. My first instinct is like, well, let's just go fucking east now.
Yeah, for sure, let's go to the east. We need to go right this second.
Right.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do there? Die? No, thank you.
Learn the secrets, see what's up.
Let's die last. Let's go west. But I guess eventually you'll have to end up east if you just keep going west.
Yeah. I'm not one to be told how to live my life, so...
The earth is flat.
Tell me
I was going to say, the earth's flat, Inge. Don't you dare. Don't tell me you're one of these globe heads walking in here thinking the words of globe. Come on.
Morons.
Fucking idiots. Anyway, I just wanted to mention I saw AJ's hands with it. I don't always love the mass market paperback art, but I do think the art for the Reaper's Gale mass market paperback is awesome. I think that roulade looks really sharp. I think the orange is great.
I just think it's great because it's the only one that I fucking know who's on the cover.
Yeah, it's the only one that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the others are just abstract, or there's doing these things and I just like some of the older covers more, but that roulade one I think just looks, and the orange is so crisp.
Yeah. I really love how clear the Midnight Tides one is, where we get the classic Midnight Tides big chest. The big chest, that's a huge part of Midnight Tides.
The big box.
Yeah.
I would love it if it was some dead seals. That's what's on my All right. Anyone have any, maybe just what Josh, first impression of this book? Crack open book number 7.
I'm excited for everything except the shit with the Patriotists. That's going to get dark and shitty quick, I imagine, but everything else I'm hyped for.
That brings up a point very quickly before I go into mine. Patriotist. What is that? What do they do? What are they?
They're a secret police.
They're secret police.
Yeah.
Secret police. That's okay. Can we just either use one word or the other, guys? Because it just really confuses me.
Steve cannot use one word for a thing. It's against the law. He literally
can't.
Yeah.
He fucking can't, and he won't. I love it. I'm into it. This book is great. This is exciting already. We know what's going on. I'm here for it. I like it. I'm ready. I'm excited. This book, the last book is a blur. I fucking hated it. I hated every second of that book. It is the worst one now.
India, I hate to tell you, I think you were as excited about the beginning of Bone Hunters as you were for this one, because we were re-meeting all of our old friends. You were very excited about that.
The thing is, did India have glasses then? She has glasses now.
That's true.
Completely different, AJ.
That's true.
It is different. It is huge different.
Yeah.
It is. So, joke's on you, AJ. I'm gonna love this book.
Right.
I do love Inge. I love the energy. I'm looking forward to you to hosting next week.
No, but you're right. You're right. It's gonna suck.
No.
Why did we take this pivot?
Because of AJ. AJ's right. I am always excited in the beginning.
Yeah, why'd you do this, AJ?
Spiders.
I don't want you to get your hopes too high. If your hopes are low,
you're right.
Nowhere to go but up.
No, you're right. And you're right, Peter. I am hosting next week, so
yay!
Let's see. Let's just see how it goes.
The grand experiment begins.
AJ, first impression of this book?
I was honestly, like I said a couple of times, I was having a hard time absorbing any of it. But I think after sitting,
you seem a little tired. You okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. It was just having a really. First of all, I did the thing that Josh really hates that I do. I read everything yesterday.
He did. Mm-hmm.
I had a very busy week this week though, and it's been.
So did I.
Anyway, and that wasn't the issue because this was barely 80. This is barely 80 pages of reading.
I read,
I read
250 pages this fucking week.
Josh, I understand you have a lot of reading to do.
Plan your life.
Yeah. Honestly, you're right. But then, Josh, some days I have days where like I try to read stuff and it just doesn't go through. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, your brain just says no.
which was what yesterday was. I had to read same paragraphs like 5-6 times over and over again. My roommate went on a 45-minute bike ride. I think I read 5 pages in that time. Just because, yeah. So anyway, I'm really liking this book. Toward the end of chapter 2 was where I was like, okay, I was really feeling the rhythm. And also, it's been a while since I've read period, and it's been a while since I've read Malazan. So every time we start these books, I feel like I have to get into it again and figure out how to do it.
Agreed.
And I think by the end of chapter 2, I was like, okay, yeah, this is how it goes. But I'm having a good time. I am looking forward to like Carson and all them showing up in Drene for some reason and just like destroying the Patriotists and then leaving, and then that being like halfway through the book. But maybe I'm being too optimistic about that. Because that does seem like a lot of bullshit would need to happen for that to be true. But I'm having a good time. I'm liking the book.
Well, I guess we'll see. No, I'm excited that we kicking off the new show. Excited to have some changes. Hopefully they go all over well, but please tweet us your thoughts. 10 Very Big Books. Send us an email, 10verybigBooks@gmail.com. Tell a friend about the show. And thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yay!
Welcome back. Here we are.
Woo.
And here's our new outro music. Listen to Amaranthin.
Ta-da, ta-da.
I say Gunth. You say Mac. Gunth.
Mac. Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, trying to stay quiet because it is late at night. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I hope you liked the remixed music as much as we all do. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about this or any of our episodes, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. That link will also be in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Dan_G for some Lando Norris sadness. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro track, is by the one, the only, the illustrious, the untouchable Amaranthin from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music, including a single of the remixed Refractor on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on October 15th, where we'll be discussing Reaper's Gale chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6, hosted by our very own India Jones. Talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.